Well, it's official, lads. The orcs are the big bads. Whoa! So today we're gonna look at some spicy orc hot takes. We're in that transitioning period where it's the end of the edition, and now it's time to consider what's happening going to 11th. For some factions, that means they get to enjoy the end of this edition, but for the orcs, the time has come, right? To be honest, from what I've heard for the data slate, also for those who just want to hear about that, I don't think we're going to get that much at the end of this edition for changes. I think GW has finally quelled the community of fear from the orcs and has us in a spot where they're like, well, we'll leave you still because we got a lot for you going forward. So with that being said, I want to talk about some rumors that have been coming up. I want to look at the Dawn of War trailer that came out and react to it with you. I also have other orc related content. Some of it is lore related, some of it is like tier list related reactions as well that the community asked for. So all of that, this is very interactive and live. That's why I chose to do it at this time. Whoa! So what's up to you guys that are out here in the chat? So whatever you guys got to say, that's very involved. So be vocal because I'm here to talk about it, get people excited, as though I know some people might be disappointed that we're not going to get too much adjustments as we end near the end of this edition, because we're in that Goldilocks zone for GW in like its overall officialness, and what they like to see. And then we also have Red Ones Go Faster, where we're one of the videos we're going to react to his video and his take. So, I have my point of view as well. Some are the same and some are different, but that's why we're Gork and Mork out here, right? So thank you for that, for telling me to react to your video. I know we're not going to get copyrighted by that one. And then we already start off with our boy becoming a member. Oh, the bad dogs. Thank you very much for that. Because I'm excited. I mean, I know all of us should be, but let's look at this real quick. This is Spiky Bits. This was posted a while back, about a month, talking about Orcs versus Space Marines in 11th edition starter set. The rumor mill is that we're going to be hitting them, and the people were asking, well, why? And some people are asking, well, why am I even covering this? I still get comments and questions, people saying, well, are you sure? Are you sure about that? GW never said that. So let's build this up and actually build it out, because we're going to build up why this is the case, and then we're going to actually look at the things that GW has essentially already shown us and told us about what's coming with this edition and change. So it's all to be excited for. So I think we should automatically look at the Dawn of War trailer here in a second. I'm going to pull it up, guys, because I got to pull them up one by one. But yeah, I'm going to look at Dawn of War with you gets here. Poop, 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 poop. Let's get it. Normally I don't do these things, but because people ask for it and such, we're going to go through this reaction. Tell me what you guys think. I don't want to get copyrighted, obviously, and such, so I'm going to be figuring this out. Some I might fast forward. This I think we can watch together for the most part, but there are other things I'm going to be taking. So as I finagle through this, bear with me, but this is what you get asked for, so I'm going to figure it out. I also got my Orc Codex out because I got things to say about that, boys. I've been reading, right? What's up with that? You got to be real. People think this is all only a competitive channel. Nah, man, I'm a realistic. I'm an Orc fan in every way, so I'm pumped. Let's see.
The galaxy lies shattered.
Okay. What this is called is an attack moon. If you go back to the War of the Beast, which is kind of older lore, some people would consider, I think it's a little kind of slower paced, a little boring in some ways, but it does outline that orcs only get these when we have sufficient WAAAGH energy for our technology to reach a certain level, right? So it's like an attack moon and a space rock. There's different ways that it's described, but the oldest way that I understand to be described is an orc attack moon. So orcs sometimes will just literally just fly out, because remember, orcs start low tech on a planet, so they'll construct some kind of propelling system, shoot themselves to an asteroid that they see in their orbit or coming by, time it up, hit it, land into it, crash land into this asteroid, then hollow it out, and then build it out into an actual ship, right? So people sometimes there's different ways that they go about this, but that's the way I've always understood it, and it's hilarious, so it's fun and everything. So it's shooting out. Let me see. Look, got it. Let's go. Torpedoes, because orcs have to do that. So people forget orcs were really considered pirates in the most beginning lore, like second edition when they popped out with Badrook, we're looked at like the space pirating faction in our more basic GW understanding. So the torpedoes are like a throwback to like space pirating, where they would board each other's ships and actually try to get in there. So of course orcs have to do that to get stuff.
Stand alone. We fight. We bleed.
Yeah. All right, there we go. That's a newer updated version looking of an orc knob from the boys.
We die.
Oh, what? Okay. Yeah, I see Red Ones was happy about this, boys. We were talking about the new war bosses. Let's go. And we can see is the Bad Moons. Okay, GW likes to show off the Bad Moons. Everybody knows that they pick a favorite, clan or a poster child, and it seems like they're going with Bad Moons. The more we look into it, we got Valrak, then Bad Moons in the artwork. And that's not surprising because how bold the yellow really sticks out. Even when we look at like the cutscenes from the game, and the actual gameplay, you see they show a lot of Bad Moon stuff, and I think that's really good take, right? Yellow and green, but it's like a dirty of the both. So War Boss and Mega Armor with a Power Claw. They're running away, boys.
For centuries, we have been sworn to defend Kronos.
Let's go. Here we are. Now, what I'll say, guys, is we're going to stack this trailer with the rumors that we've been hearing, right? So we also have guys like Valrak out there, where I'm going to react to his video too today and right now. And he's saying right off the beginning, something he's talking about is Armageddon, that really orcs want Armageddon back. They want to really get back on that planet. That's their main home world, Ulnor. So it makes sense. And now people are returning.
Return to find a world in ruin. Orc warlords infest the surface.
Let's go. So we have Beast Snagger bosses. I wanted to play it out a little bit more and then backtrack. So GW is giving Beast Boss. Oh, look at that word boy back there. Okay. Guys, I'm watching that too. Okay, so the dudes, what's happening here is the Space Marines ran away, crash into the planet. And they're looking on the Beast Snagger. It looks like there's a Beast Snagger horde already getting riled up right now. Two clans are going to face off. Very common on any Orc world planet, right? A lot of the time what happens after a big fight happens in the books is sometimes the planet gets decimated and orcs just end up staying out there, and they lose too much power in their wall energy and technology to actually make more spaceships to get off and go to other planets, or they get stuck just trying to fight for that and conquer that planet. That's exactly what's happening here. And you see he is rallying these guys up as he sees this debris falling. So
we have returned.
It's a beast boss. I mean, and we'll look at what Red One says about it too and other people, but I'm looking at him and I see a beast boss. He has a lot of the similarities to the beast boss kit, other than his actual war gear, and his size is actually very beast boss like as well. He has the two horns, but one's broken off due to combat. He has the shoulder mounted skull. The one that we have as our kit is actually more like a bestial skull. And then he has a choppa. So could it be like, maybe
to find a world in ruin?
Like I like how that doesn't impress him at all. The thing he doesn't start going like a primate. He just kind of looks at it like, all right, like he's taking it to account, right? Now we got a wereboy back there. Let's see if he actually does something in the games, because he does absolutely nothing in the 40K universe. And then right here in the front, right? Oh, you can actually see my mouse, so I don't got to pull out my paint pen. What's this, guys? This is a baby mech or a basic mech. So this could be seen as a mech, like a spanner mech, or just a mech in general. And then he's next to a Snagger boy, right? So this is one of the first times we actually see some kind of technology being integrated directly. You can see the collaboration. We know there's a collaboration, right? We know that there's the actual times where there's mechanical parts, so there has to be a paint boss, and the paint boss has to get some of his mechanical bits from some sort of mech. But now we're seeing it in the game, so they're seeing the overlap. There's always this, right? Because if you're new to orcs or just more not knowing of their lore, it's not that one clan, when they're showing one clan, is so mono that it doesn't have anything that's integrated or known about from other clans. It's just that the other parts of the clan would be very minor, right? If they have mechs, they would just have less than like a Death Skulls clan would. I mean, it wouldn't mean they have none just because they're beast snagas. Okay, right past him. Oh, hold on, I like that. Yeah, okay. Here we go. So this is, again, kind of why I think he's a beast boss. Because maybe he's just not a beast boss enough, right? As we see, I don't think that's him, but that's the beast boss Choppa that's similar to his. But this guy has like the thing under his jaw and stuff. That's the model. That's the one thing that you have to take into account when you're looking at any of these trailers in Dawn of War is, as we've said, the red one said, and I've seen it agreed as well as these cutscenes and everything are all engineered and consistent with whatever GW wants to show off, and they're not going to show stuff in this that's not replicable in their models, pretty much. Also, there's something in this background right here. It looks like a kill rig, maybe top of the war tower. Not sure.
Warlords in.
All right, we got the War Boy, and then we got this beast boss and his snagga squaring up on someone. The mega boss showed up. All right, here we go. Now that's why the also thing I'm saying is, if he's squaring up on a boss, a mega boss, even though orcs are never scared, right? And beast snaggas are known to fight bigger things. There's a good chance that this is a boss on boss combat. I wouldn't be like a knob on boss combat. Boom.
Mechanicus priests pursue knowledge long forgotten. Ancient.
Oh, the Tin Boys. Okay. The orcs always are on that Tomb World planet, ready for the Tin Boys. We go way back. We're gonna unpack that more when we do more of this reaction videos, talk more about the lore. But Necrons and orcs
horrors awaken, claiming dominion over all, and something still stirs below. Buried deep, lost for eons, and never meant to return.
Yeah, he might start off. He starts off on the Squigosaur. Okay, yeah. Cool. What else is chat saying? Chat saying, oh, just people are just watching right now. Boarding torpedoes and battlefield clock for all factions. Okay, in the old game, so it's good that they brought it back. Thankfully, Darnold. The rest of it is all Necron stuff. For the most part, when the Space Marines talking about it. Yeah. Let's go to the end because I don't care about watching the Necrons that much. Making sure I didn't miss anything. No, there's no Necrons fighting and stuff. All right, let's go to the end of it. So we got war bosses. We got a battle wagon over there in the top right corner as well. Notice it's all pretty much yellow. So we all know it's Bad Moons related. Meaning, I'm thinking GW is going to make our look going forward very Bad Moons-esque and focused. So let's look at the next thing I want to look at, which is actually our boys in the chat with actual Red Ones himself. Let's look at what Red Ones was saying too, because I know he made a little a video about it, and I liked his video. It was exciting. Let's see where I can find don't worry. There was Valrak there. So this one? Yeah, it was. Bam. There's our boy looking all excited. Look at him. To be specific. All right, so let's go to where I got him marked some points that I liked from what he said, because his video is really good. Go watch it himself too. He was excited. And he has a lot of good points because he's old school. He's been around for a long time, right? So right here, one point we're going to talk about, which is what we talked about in the collab video.
Cool new model. So first of all, you see the foot there. You orc players already
straight up off a foot.
You know what this is. We're talking mega armor.
Yeah. As we pointed out.
Now, look at this absolute unit right here.
Absolutely. Very, very well done as the War Boss and Mega Armor kit. We need a multi-kit, I think, as we're going in. We were introduced with the Big Choppa, which I very much like. But it's just it's very fitting that every war boss in Mega Armor has access to a power claw, but so do like the Big Macs in Power Armor, right? They have power claws too.
I give you the new war boss in Mega Armor. Now, how do I know this is a war boss? Well, simple. Here is the current Mega Armor.
Yeah, look at that. He has a power claw. The Big Mac looks very similar. It's not even that much more impressive. That's actually the sad part. So we know we're very much due there.
And as you see, there's no giant chunky shoulder pad that goes over the top. What you have are these little shoulder pads.
He's more built in Dreadnought-esque, right? Built in like how Gashead is built into his armor, more so as the war bosses and Mega Armors too, right?
That go around the model is almost a 1-to-1.
And that was the good
as armor. However, you
know, here. The shooter, of course. The big shooter on top. Can't see the grot. I want to see the grot. The grot better be in the game, right? We better have a grot on the back of that war boss and Mega Armor when he's done downfield. I want the shooter to be going off and the little grot to be like barely hanging on, bouncing about the back on the Dawn of War game. That's what I want to see. Well, that's actually more like what I'd be interested in. Then here, what he pointed out was the boss.
The current knob. The knob is even a little weedy
exactly
compared to this unit of guy. I think what we are looking at here,
he's much too small to be. He's much too big to be simply a knob. I mean, that torso thickness, right,
is a beast snagga knob. That's right, a beast snagga knob. I mean, think about it. He doesn't have the accoutrements of the war boss. You're missing the targeting squig. You're missing the weapon. You're missing the power claw. You're missing.
Okay, he's saying the developers announced after my video that he's named Beast Boss. Okay, he's a named Beast Boss, and he might start off on a Squigosaur. All right, cool. So you're saying that too. That's what I was more in even though I like the points you were making to exclude him from being a knob, and you were pointing out his war gear. Those were good takes. Very much think this was a Beast Boss. He just multi-kit or came off the actual mount. I have I'm not going to grab him, but when I was looking at my Beast Boss on Squigosaur, sure, he has a curved blade, but it was very similar. So a lot of those kits that came out, were kind of like mono build. And if GW really wants to get their sales up, just get some multi-part kits for Orks, and boy, they'll start kit bashing, buying them, doing so much stuff with them, really reignite the Ork buying, even though they just bought all these models this edition, right? A lot of people already went out and got war bosses in Mega Armor, already went out, got beast bosses on foot. This means now they have a reason to go out and get more of them and then kind of develop them and make them look different if they have multi-part kits. And Dawn of War is showing that off, that might be a thing. Now, what was the other thing that you were bringing up here?
A regular boy, and then
yep, there's the War Boy, there's the mech.
And there is a War Boy. That is very clearly the current.
Yes, the current War Boy. Hopefully, he actually does something in the game, right? You think you brought this up here too?
There, it's red. It's kind of pointy. It's got like some sort of filigree or yellow or flames on the front of it.
Beast Snagger Draft Dread. Boom. No, I'm just kidding. Beast Snagger Draft Dread. That'd be sick.
It looks like yellow flames to me. It's kind of reminiscent of like a Gorkanaut belly, but it's clearly not because it ends. That's like the nose to some sort of vehicle, very orcish. That is followed by another look at.
There we go. War Boy and Beast Boss stacking up on each other. Great shot that he appreciated as well. And then there was also something else he pointed out here I liked. He pointed out how the War Boss in Mega Armor has this teleporter pack
model, as seen right here.
Boom. Now, there's a couple things right here that he points out. The Big Mac has one currently, the current Big Mac model that just came out. Why would a War Boss in Mega Armor have it? This teleporter tech analogy. Well, it's multi-purpose, right? There's one in the rules right now. We have an enhancement called the teleporter that allows them to deep strike, like you were saying, and the red ones was saying in the actual video, that he can come down and actually deep strike similar to like a Terminator does. Also, though, as we see on the Big Mac, he uses his teleporter for short range teleportation. So he actually uses his shock jump generator, as the Big Mac does, to move through enemy combatants, right? So when you look at the Big Mac and his ability and how his data sheet applies to how the model looks, his warp pack is the thing that'll actually most likely allows him to actually do his data sheet ability, which is move through people. So yeah, that I think that's kind of what I was going. That was another alternative guess. So one is we already know that he has. Here we go. I'll pull it up to make sure I can actually show it. Sorry, guys, I have a bunch of things here. I'll come back to this cool Donna Warren portrait, but I want to show the data sheet, what the data sheet rule says for the current Big Mac. It says shock booster. This is actually allows him to re-roll, move through people in engagement range. So how GW has, you know, moved this over, right, to the actual game implementation is it's not a teleporter to bring people down from a ship as a Terminator would. This is for short range movement, right? Ork being able to do what it would love to do best, right? If Orks could have one ideal form of technology, it would be if I could just instantly get from here to punch you in the face over there without you shooting me. So what would a war boss and mega arm ideally want? Well, he wants not all the armor to tank all the DACA before he gets in. No, he wants to be able to instantly teleport or transport too. So it could be that maybe even in the game that your unit of war boss and mega armor is able to deep strike, but also move through enemy combatants as well. It's like it's not one or the other, and I'm not saying I'm 100% sure it's just that one thing, but it's just something I wanted to show out that how we've actually seen GW roll it in already is how they've rolled it in already. It's a short range movement.
I mean, you can't get any clearer than that.
But that was a great, yeah, that was a great show. That was a great thing to notice.
It's missing the whole exoskeleton suit with the extra arms,
and clearly,
and it doesn't have a mech pole. It's got two boss poles. So this is definitely a war boss and mega armor with a power.
Yep. Exactly. That was a great thing to cover, to point out and cover. So give you credit for that. That was awesome. And yeah, if you haven't checked out his video, go ahead and check it out too. He points out the newly updated looking knob that actually looks proper to what we would see now in the boys kit, where the knob's more upright, maybe what some would call a little bit more humanoid in those ways. So yeah, if we get new knobs kits, I like my knobs kits, but I could use more, right? He has the banner pole, and then he also has a bad wounds. So yeah, this was actually a great take at this as well. So from Gorks and Mork's perspective, it looked like we can see that GW is showing its hand, is showing off that Orks are going to be the big bad. So check out Red One's video. Also love that get. Super fun and exciting. He hit me up and made sure, hey, check this out, and then tell me what you think. And as he's pointing out here, the Def Dreads in the background. So GW is showing its hand, but we also still have the Git himself, chapter master Valrak, right? The Imperium fan himself, where he had his take too. Let's see. This gets right here. Boop. There he is. What's up, Valrak? And I was watching it before I had the channel because I am an Imperial Fist fan as well. Yes, that's why I have a impulsor. This is an awesome impulsor, is it not? Come on, boy. I put all the DACA on there, though, because I'm still an Ork. You know what I'm saying? Orks be Orks. I got to have all the DACA. Why would I want all the other stuff? Valrak is turning into Ork. Oh, he's going to be done with him by the time we get our wall energy on him. Even though he's going to have to choose. So Valrak had been leading the rumor mill, talking about Orks. This is a month ago as well. So some things we have more beforehand knowledge and stuff and such. But he was talking about how Orks are going to be the big bad. They're going to bring a bunch of different Space Marine factions and possibly even bait Gazgul. So there's some good parts and takes here. Oops, I should have done a better job at taking bookmarks, but no. All right. So I don't mean to mess this up, but yes, he was right off the bat. Please don't mess me up, Valrak, and copyright me. I'm bad at this, but I will do better.
And in this video, I want to discuss that a little bit more because
he has really, really good Space Marine perspectives and takes. I came to just watch the Orks, and I ended up watching like the whole video essentially, just because I'm not even into that Space Marines that much, but it was just really good points of view that he was saying. And most people, even the articles like Spiky Bits that we showed in the beginning, are actually getting their points of view from Valrak as well. So he is the epicenter. So I'm not definitely not throwing shade or not trying to step on toes here.
I I'm hearing through the whispers is that we're going back to Armageddon, and
Oh, that's what I want to see, baby.
that for me brings a whole thing to talk about.
Yeah, we got beef, boy. We're getting our stuff back. Yeah, in the chat saying right now, getting back into 40K. Do you think it's Gazgul Meganobs are safe for purchase? Gaz, yes. The Meganobs probably not. The Meganobs look like lunchboxes. So no, I would say no, not them. But the Combat Patrol War Boss, yeah, he's good. The War Boss and Mega Armor, he's still good. He's gonna be around with the Big Choppa. They better not get rid of the Big Choppa, dude. I love that Big Choppa. I love that Orks have something other than Power Claws as weapons. So there's no reason I wouldn't want that too. But yeah, before I interrupt him the whole entire time.
I want to talk about theories. I want to talk about characters who potentially could.
And Orks have great character. That's what I've been saying, dude. So right away, what's the first? I didn't mean to pause it on your face like that. Let me undo that.
Be involved. You've got Helbrecht, Grimaldus.
That's better. All right. There you go. Sorry, dude. I'm not trying to. All right. So Orks have great character, man. So if Space Marines want to actually have a whole story based around regaining a planet that has, some sort of sentimental value to another enemy faction, but also has, Necron slept inside of this world, some kind of relic that also the Atomic always want to get because they're always poking their little noses around the wrong places and starting to fight. Also, yeah, he talks about Valrak, right? He says that in this video as well, that he thinks that Valrak is actually still alive based off what the lore is. And of course, if he's there, Gaz is going to be there too. He's going to come back to get his old rival and say what's up to him.
The Blood Angels are apparently going to be jumping in and throwing down their swords. Yeah.
Okay. Blood Angels too. Then we also know, because of the Dawn of War game, we know Lionel Johnson's coming. So Lionel, whenever there's a Primarch, he's bringing essentially a whole Crusade style force with him.
Valrak is rumored to return in. What if we're going to get Loyalist Primarch?
You were right. You're getting Loyalist Primarch in the actual game.
Be launching their big assault on the Imperium, and that is going to be taking us back. This edition, where it kicked off with the Tyranids invading the Segmentum Pacificus, apparently
he adds up. Remember, Valrak is really good at taking the big point of view and encapsulating it as, where does GW actually want to take this? He's pointing out, well, it was Tyranids first, and GW really wants to put on that the Imperium's in peril, right? So, boom, they showed off. The Acadia was destroyed. That's 1. 2, Tyranids come in. 3, Orks.
The Orks are going to be launching their big assault on the Imperium, and that is going to be taking us back to Armageddon.
Okay, and that's what we want. That's what we want.
Now, we've already just been on Armageddon in this edition right now, in a 10th edition, where we've just had the Blood Crusade with Angron, the World Eaters,
Okay, yes, because as we always said, when there's big enough wall energy, it brings other factions there to come out and play, right? There's been times in lore where, because the Orks were doing so much work, that Khorne itself emerged. Like, whoa. Let's see another thing that he said later in this video.
No, Armageddon is actually Ulinor. That is
there we go. Yep, that's a great fact. And then he says that over here, he brings a good point.
Apparently, the only gas mask people who are going to be getting some love
this is when he was telling that
in the Armageddon stuff.
He was talking about how he doesn't like Krieg as much as Steel Legion.
Already got some big characters already based in Armageddon right now. So you've
big characters, and then we also have big Bad Moon character because of Big Mac. Because Uftak, and then we also seen in the Armageddon scene, we've seen everybody there is a Bad Moon, because now you can see his actual walls there. There's no reason that's not one of Uftak's subordinate war bosses of Mega Armor.
Got the Black Templars, you've got the Space Wolves, the Grey Knights more or less have left now after like the demon shenanigans and stuff like that. There's a whole different
all
video.
The melee factions, right? You notice you're bringing all the melee dudes, and of course Black Templars gonna have to come. My bad.
Right now, most of the Blood Angel forces
he's gonna just copyright me just for the sake of where I keep stopping the video on his face. My bad.
are on the other side of the Imperium. Yeah. So maybe they chew off your ear with Primarchs, because of course I absolutely love Primarchs. There was a Primarch that went missing onto him.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of people said
he was right about this too, which is how this is why I'm reacting to this. Typically, I don't care about rumors. I don't react. Don't always watch stuff like this. But then you see Dawn of War. You see him talking about Lionel Johnson, alluding to, okay, now you see Lionel Johnson included to the game. So everything's stacking up into his, his idea, his point of view here. And like he points out in this video, Gaz versus a Primarch, something we haven't seen.
not going to be doing anything to Vulcan. So Vulcan is alive somewhere in the galaxy. Potentially, that could be like a mysterious figure that helps the Imperial Force now, where I'm not sure a lot of people can stand up to him.
Right here,
and I
this
think
is where he says
a certain size.
This is where he brings it up. He pretty much brings up how big Gaz is. And if you've been listening to the Orc lore books, right, Gaz, to actually a certain degree, does training. Is a funny way to look at it. If you look at the Mad Doc Grotznick book, the whole point of the book essentially is that at some point, no spoilers, 3, 2, 1, Mad Doc is creating something that's strong enough to rival and challenge Gaz, and then Gaz goes and destroys it and tells him the pros and cons of what he faced, and tells Mad Doc Grotznick to make him something bigger to fight. So whatever point of view the Imperium right now thinks they know of Gaz, because they're like, well, he fought Ragnar, and Ragnar's, a little Primarch, and he won. He cut his head off. So no way he's going to try to fight Lionel Johnson. Orcs continue to grow, right? That doesn't mean that was such a long time ago for Gaz, considering that he puts himself in peril against things that are designed to destroy him. So losing one fight to a Space Marine a long time ago is not the benchmark to where Gaz is now. But that's what Valrak thinks, most likely. Even though he's giving him his credit, right?
It's a certain menace now where I'm not sure a lot of people can stand up to him. And I think one of the people that could stand up to him is a Primarch-esque figure. Now, I'm not saying, of course, it's Vulcan. I would love it to be Vulcan, but
actually, I would like that too. Green on green. Let's go. Okay, man. I like Vulcan too.
We do have more returned loyalist Primarchs to the setting now. Of course, the Lion has returned. We've heard nothing since the Arks of Old.
Who's going to take on a duel but Lionel Johnson, right? Everybody knows. Everybody knows that, he, when it comes to Gaz or Orcs, he's going to say 1v1, bro. 1v, run the ones, right? And that's what's going to happen here. Lionel Johnson's the perfect storyline to write out, that Gaz gets a 1v1.
What if he goes and he shows up at Armageddon? That could be a really, really cool thing. Gilliman could actually get off his butt, right? And actually do.
No, it's not going to happen. I don't think so.
Something rather than writing stuff down.
No, they're going to stack that many, dude. He's going to go find some Eldar to hang out with or something.
He could join in the fun and he could take part in Armageddon. I would love to see a Primarch.
Yeah, Gaz lost to
Gaskell.
Ragnar before Yarrick died.
If a Primarch did face Gaskell, the Lion or Gilliman, do you think Gaskell would have a chance? As an Imperial player, I'm probably...
Oh, you're probably biased. You are biased. Oh, but it's okay. Just, let's go roll with it, man. Like I always say, admit our bias. I put his hands up while he's wearing his power armor sweater. You know what I'm saying? Oh, boy, we know what's going on here. It's all good. You guys got you're gonna have that plot armor, but Gas is gonna get those ones, which is what he wants, right? Like our chat saying it right now. Run the ones. Regardless, Orcs are never beaten. So though you may win, the battle, quote unquote, in the lore because GW wants you to or something like that, that doesn't mean Orcs aren't going to win the overall war or outcome of everything that happens, which is what we like to see.
I'm going to show my bias right now. I don't think Gaskell would have a chance against them as of now. Maybe, maybe another 100.
So I'm looking
years or something. The Gaz gets more more bestial and stuff like that.
Okay, so he's explaining. I think what he's trying to say is, he gets more Cork-like, right? So the evolution, the next state of evolution in an Orc, which I agree with. A Cork would be more suitable matchup for a Primarch, because of we've seen the Beast Rising books, and that's more likely of what he was like to fight him. But what I would also say is when he says WAAAGH, right? Something that we show in, again, the Mad Doc books, which you're most familiar. We also have the Gaz book, The Prophet of the WAAAGH, where it shows that Gaz is not only powerful because his physical abilities, but because of the actual embodiment of WAAAGH energy that he takes on when he gets into those peak fighting combat positions or becomes in distress, right? So just like when Gilliman was fighting Mortarion, and then he got empowered by, you know, whatever his dad, and I'm not exactly sure about the Imperium lore exactly how it works like that, but he got empowered to actually overcome and hurt Mortarion because Mortarion was weakened or something like that, right? In the same way that Gaz gets empowered by Gork and Mork with WAAAGH energy to get stronger. So if you're fighting Gaz on a planet like Armageddon full of orcs, he's going to be very, very much supercharged. And this could be where Gaz either at post this fight or during this fight where he actually does ascend to that Cork hood. That's what I'm trying to say is he's saying we need a Cork in order to fight Gaz. I'm saying that's good. That's a good observation. But this might be what pushes him over the edge to be more Cork light by having this encounter.
Then maybe then. But right now, I still don't think Gazskull has a chance. And there's another element which I love to theorize about this, and that is another chapter, another fan favorite chapter.
Someone else something says is that the other thing is some other like what factions will be there, like Imperiums and such like that. But yeah, nonetheless, I don't think there was anything else that he said that I wanted to actually point out. But great job. Check out the rest of his video. He had some awesome takes on the Imperium and what you know, some Imperium factions are going to be there and why they might be there, which might lead to new models for them as well. So check out his video, and hopefully I don't get destroyed and the copyrighted by him or anything. Let's see what people were saying as well. Yeah, exactly. Gaz turning into a Cork like state mid-fight would be so peak. Exactly. And that's what people like to see, right? You guys all know how animes run or like superhero movies run. There's no reason why as GW is moving and with Amazon deals and such like that, when we start unloading their stories, that they're going to be more like that. So that being said, I think that's enough about the actual lore things. Now let's talk about what's actually the state of the game now. Now we're at about half an hour in. People are here. What's going on with Orks and 40K? So what I will say is it doesn't seem like we're going to get a buff of any sort or, you know, any real love from GW here in this data slate that we're looking at. If you're watching this video live, and you know, with data slate could come in like a week or two. The rumors are that Orks aren't getting nerfs or buffs. So I was told by my chat and Discord channel members and such, they wanted to hear some of my points and thoughts at the Art of War tier list video. Honestly, I thought they did a quite good job. Everybody knows I like Michael Mann and I like Art of War. But there are still some things that I disagree with, of course, in some of these takes, and I also want to unpack, right? So let's look at this. Of course, this isn't to cause any beef or give any shade on them. We all just are different war bosses. And yeah, so let's get into some of these things. And I also have other stuff to react to that are just straight Ork content too. So they give some thoughts at the end of this video as to where things are. What I want to point out, you know, before we hear them is Stampa all the way at the bottom. That's most likely because they're looking at it as how much potential do I have to go undefeated? Because that's the most competitive for them, right? They do not take any losses into like acceptance, which is totally fine and reasonable. But keep that in mind, guys, when you look at the tier list like this, compared to maybe like me or other people like Red Ones or people that play maybe include Crusade, for example, and then they'll take a different point of view. But from what they're looking at is, what does it take to lose 0 games? And what am I absolutely taking for sure to get the most consistent outcomes? So that's how I'm looking at and kind of sub-reviewing their tier list video, because for the most part, I'm going to agree with it, but I still think that people were like, hey, what's going on? So Stampa, definitely not consistent to win undefeated stuff. So if you're going based off that, it belongs in the pit. But I would have liked to see it in D tier because I think it actually can win games and people can take it and win X amount of games at events and actually have a positive rating if they know what to do with their Dread Mob and their Stampa list. But I'm sure Michael Mann's aware of that too. But the other thing that really kind of got me a little surprised just a little, was the Gorkanaut. So let's go. I actually want to look at the Gorkanaut because they put Gorkanaut in the pit, right? There's Gazgul. But that's funny that they put the Gorkanaut in the pit.
Next up, we have the Gorkanaut, the famous Gorkanaut, which
The famous.
I have never seen on the table.
Yeah.
I like that thing. Famous that I've never seen on the table. I like his straight face with it.
Yeah, so the Morkanaut is playable. The Gorkanaut is not.
That's an interesting take. The Morkanaut is playable. The Gorkanaut is not. You know, in my tier list video, I said that they were equally to the same degree of not that good. You know, they're playable, but not to win, undefeated at events. Playable.
is the big difference.
What is the key difference here?
So the Gorkanaut has the Death Storm Mega Cannon, which is going to be like 30 shots at
the dagger.
At 611 or 51. I think it's 611. And he has 1 extra attack in melee. And
yeah, that's pretty whack. You're right about that for not being that impressed. And the fact that it stacks a data sheet ability of like, oh, on this turn you get +1 to hit, not that impressive. And it does only get 1 more attack than the Mork when it's a big punch. It should get 2 at least, right? Right, that's a good point.
He doesn't have any custom Mega Blasts, I think. I think he just has Scorches.
Yes, yeah.
So it's just a volume of attacks that you would get with your melee profiles.
Yeah, he's a cheap knight that hits on 5s. That is the best way you can put him. This is just... Actually, I think this guy's the pit.
Okay, so that's fine. I understand. So the point here he's making is that, one, it's trying to do the same thing that Orks already do. Totally understand that. I will say that because I cover obviously Orks somewhat often, people use these more often than you'd expect, and it's actually more often that I see results with Ork players using the Morkanauts for the most part. I mean the Gorkanauts than the Morkanauts. And that's because if you do stick it in something like Dread Mob and you run into, let's say, the Catan / the Demon meta, this guy with his lethals, being able to re-roll the entire hit roll, choose sustain or lethal on his guns, and really make it rain on these guys means he blends through demon models and armies sometimes, can put nasty wounds on demons and as well, or the Catans, right? So you could do big shells for bigger gets, the Gatling Storm Cannon, and actually bypass their reduced damage by 1 because your +1 damage comes at the end of their damage modifier. So then you'd be sticking a bunch of damage 2 on them, wounding on 4s, and then you could re-rolling the entire hit rolls, and you could fish for lethal there. So in certain matchups, right, it really can shine. And when you do lack other stuff in your collection, and you have to like run into Deathwing Knights and such, you wouldn't feel that terrible. One more thing that I can say that we've seen is when you saturate the field with a lot of toughness and you just throw him into your list, like a Bully Boys, or maybe we've seen one funny list with like the Hunt or your Dread Mob. If you saturate toughness, he kind of can come into play as well. That being said, I wouldn't, just like in my tier list video, I wouldn't put him any higher than, C or D wherever you want. But from their point of view, that was interesting. I would strongly disagree with him being in the total bin tier list, but it was valid reasons for why he would say that. The other stuff would be the Hunter rig. No, I get it. He's kind of sucks. Custom boosted Blasta, the worst buggy in my opinion. Paintball is trash. The shock jump though, in Cult of Speed and such, he has some real play. I would have thrown him in D just because he's the only thing that does what he does with jumping around, but his damage is so whiffy and he's so just I exist style that I'm cool with the pit. Now we're looking up here at the actual relevant data sheets. So the boss mounted characters, I think rightfully you're putting C. The stuff all right here in C, I really like that C tier list. He identified the Boomdocker Snazwagon as being a really viable buggy that can be put in other armies and detachments. So that was actually a great pick in my end. I mean, at his end, that I liked and I agree with. Interesting to put the Rucka even that high, but that's fine. Little low on the kill rigs. I mean, Killicans next to the Death Dreads, where the kill rigs all similar to each other. Is that what I put too in the funny way? Yeah, kill rigs. I think I put. Oh, I did. That's so awesome. In our tier list, we actually had it similarly. We're in the same category, similar category, depending on think they had more categories than us, but we put all these models right next to each other. So that was cool to see that Death Dread, Killicans, and Rigs all in the same kind of So then we move to the what we would consider S tier. If you look at like our earlier tier list videos before the one I did where I introduced the scoring system, most of these units were already existing in there since like the beginning of the edition or jumping back and forth between A and S. So I don't think there's anything to disagree with that these are the most consistent and popularly brought units.
Skirmish pieces that shoot. You can have.
Oops, let me go back.
All right. Well,
They're
well, that rounds us out for the different orc data sheets here. It seems like orcs have a handful of auto takes, some decent units in A and
yeah. These auto takes are units that you see across attachments. Interesting that they put boys in S tier. I like that. That's some respect on the boys' names.
B, although not like that many. And then a solid amount of stuff in C and D, which are relatively.
The really good thought out A tier as well. The battle wagons and the big mechs. Big mechs really because they're combo, of course, with the gas unit. But the battle wagon right now in the meta currently is doing a great job. Between delivering the second mob alongside gas or delivering packages of elite units. Some were calling these blitz wagon, where it's bringing like a big elite unit, then a big unit of flash kits or small 5-man units as well. You can put gas in there with 10 knobs. So it has a bunch of versatility and a lot of play, especially when you can keep the wagon aligned for late game. Snick Rat's at a great spot at this point alongside Mando. All of this belongs in A tier in a great way. The Mega Knobs being in A tier was also surprising to me because I would think that maybe even top of B, but A was an interesting take. I think that's because man's really really interested in the -3 AP generally with them and the twin linked. And as we look at the Victrix card going forward, Mega Knobs are one of the only units that can stand up to Victrix guard in our codex right now, right? Between us doing art as nails, if we're coming out of a wagon with them, you can actually disembark you be inside the wagon, you can't be oathed. Then you come out of the wagon, you advance and charge into the enemy unit, and then you have -3 AP, 2 damage, twin linked, your strength 12. So of course you're going to wound them on 3s because they have -1 to 1 wound built in. And then if you have gas with you, you can +1 to wound as well. So still take them back to 2s unless they spend CP to again make themselves -1. But even if they do that, you're re-rolling the wound roll with your twin link power claws, and then you're all damage 2. So you're just putting flat damage 2 into them to make up for their 4 damages. That typically is quite annoying because I like to have 3 damage rockets and such and kill those elite units. In this case, just putting a bunch of nice, efficient damage 3. Damage 2 would be nice to dwindle down the unit, and then gas go in there as well and clean up the unit. Then in the clapback response, you can fart art as nails. You can also fight on death and drag another Victrix guard down unit with you. Victrix guard only strength 5, then they can go up to strength 6. So as long as you're not oathed, you have a good shot of like sticking in there in a fight, even if they're heroic and such. So I do like that placing for the Mega Knobs now. That Victrix guard are becoming more popular.
Niche. They fit into mostly one detachment and a detachment that isn't towards the top.
Look at the respect on Zod's name. I like that. I would like him a little higher, but I'm a little biased, of course.
Competitive. And then there's a handful of data sheets in the pit, which is typical of most.
Okay, here's a little bit of beef I have as well. No way. I know why Mike probably likes these. Michael likes these Burner Boys. He probably faces a lot more T3 armies in Eldar than me, so there's that most biased potential. But I am putting Death Coptas above Burner Boys all day, just because of how much better they are in Cult of Speed, the deep strike ability, how tough they are. They make up for the Storm Boys. They can be thrown in every list. I would absolutely throw Burner Boys to the end of this, behind Warbikers, behind Tank Busters, behind all that stuff. And, you know what? I want to hear his Burner Boy reasoning now, because am I missing something? I think it's just that he likes that. But even the data sheet ability, having to get close enough to get the rerolls and only hitting on 4s in combat, that's just not great.
All right, how about Burner Boys then?
I like Burner Boys. So these guys are actually pretty nice for just 5 little guys. They have 4 flamers, and then 1, you can take a custom Mega Blaster or a rocket. They have their rule is if you're within 6 inches, you roll wound rolls of 1. If you're on an objective marker and within 6 inches of them, they rule all their wounds. which adds up kind of a lot.
Yep.
They also have a very unique melee profile. All the guys who have the Burnas have a strength 4, AP 2 for 1 attack, hitting on 4s, 2 attack space. And the WAAAGH.
Yeah. Okay. And I've had cool games where like I've taken a couple of wounds off some elite infantry because of that. It is nice. With War Hoarder, you can feel it much more.
That's strength 5, AP 2 for 1, 3 attacks, which is like, it's like a
hitting on 4s, and they have 2 attack base.
Power weapon, right? That's actually not bad.
4.
So I like them a lot for 60 points.
Okay.
Yeah, 60 points is dirt cheap.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Whenever, this is my favorite.
It is dirt cheap. It is dirt cheap. Now we have the Mandos, in that case. So you split them up. You can put War Gear. You don't get all that offensive output. And Flamers, though, which is specific because he's talking about clearing T3 units most likely.
Favorite trash unit to bring over, I like them more than Ludas. Whenever I'm trying to fill out a transport,
yeah, there are a good alternative to. I would never take Ludas over Burner Boys.
Really want to get Burner Boys because also just a truck driving up and it's like, here's my 46 flamer shots. That's like an Eldar player's worst nightmare.
Yes.
Right? Like they hate that.
Talking about T3.
So I think I have them in B tier. Like they're just useful.
Yeah, I
right?
think they're one of the best.
Yeah, very useful. I don't give him much credence for that combat though. Very likely to get through on there. Nor is that custom Mega Blaster. Don't put them much above those guys, but to each their own. That would be the other thing I would give just a little bit of beef to. Throw them back behind probably all these units that he's ahead of in this line. Even the mech. The mech would be in front of it for the SWAT team combo and the trucks. That's a lot of love for the Breaker Boys over the Tank Busters. Tank Busters really fell off. Not going to say much in there. But other than that, I think I pointed off the minor differences, that I would hear in our data sheet kind of stuff we would say. I'm glad they put the respect in the Flash gets name for skirmishing and chaff clearing. So nonetheless, I think that's a great spot. I don't think anybody in chat said anything bad so far. And chat's kind of agreeing with everything that I was bringing up too. Yeah, and they did a good time. So overall, great job on their tier list video. It felt really good to have Man there where he can actually fill out the understanding of what the Orks have and what the data sheets bring. Damn, time for getting rage baited by this tier list. No, what do you disagree with that tier list? There wasn't that much bad stuff. Like the minor things I said. I mean, but they're looking at through the eyes of winning every single game. So I think with that, if you're looking at it strictly like that, it's like, all right, totally not gonna hate on that. Let me see. Let me get rid of some of these things because I'm just about done. I think where we're gonna wrap it up is so we have the new Astra Militarum that come out. The new Grotmus detachments are coming out. It seems like there's gonna be out 6 of them. Some are going to be actually pretty efficient. The one we've seen with Guard seems like this Guard is going to be putting fear into a lot of different armies now. You can you're going to see Bulgrins on lists, be given orders for +1 to hit, being given orders to have more OC, so now they can countercharge you. Their tanks are going to be super good, so tank busters are going to completely bounce off any version of Lehman Russ. Even some versions of our melee, because they're going to have Armor of Contempt. From what I understand, they can still stack an order of +1 save on there. So that means really it's -2 to your AP, reduction of your AP on their 2-up armor save unit. So that could be quite problematic as well. Of course, we have beast bosses, we have dead wounds, and Wampus Kill Choppa, we have volume of attacks, we have twin kill saw, mega knobs and such. So we still have tools into it, but that kind of fear puts fear into something like the Space Marines meta, right? So we still have more to unpack with these detachments coming out and the data slate changes before we can really see where Orks are going to end up. But if we're just, like not touched and staying where we're at, it could give us a little bit of a bad taste in our mouth going into the next edition. And we're going to have to bring more mortal wounds, more multi-phase damage potential, and maybe even have to move away from the Gaz Boy Mom meta. Not because it's bad, but because there's going to be so much diversity armies that can deal with it that your Orks are going to have to adapt one more time, maybe back into a lot of small activation units. So we'll see what's going on with that. But this is just making my mind unpack where people we're starting to think we're stable, and I think we're not. I think, if the rumors are true with our points, it could make us all just start to rethink our cunning ways and find new ways to get stuck in. So one more thing I wanted to cover with
Sorry, I have to make
The Orks from 40K are a
get Wes Hammer from his lore thing. I don't know why.
The Orks from 40K.
video relax. Okay. Sorry, guys. So pretty much he comes with 5 quick facts, which I think is awesome. When I was first getting the 40K, I would love someone like this that was entertaining and saying all these fun things to make me hyped about this. So by no means is this throwing shade. By no means this is me trying to correct necessarily him. If anything, I'm just unpacking some of the things he says a little more. And then I'll give a little quote here as he's going to talk about the orcs and their WAAAGH energy, which kind of goes with everything that we talked about with the Dawn of War game and such too. Right side chat. Whoa, no, I don't. I could look at that mortal wound strat. I think I have the data sheet open right here. The D6 mortal wound strat on the guard. Where is it? Oh no, let's see. The armor of contempt seems like it's only in shooting. Look at. Before I look at Wes. Oops. This looks like this is where it's at. So your opponent's shooting phase. So it still counts for what I said for tank busters. For we're still crumping them though. It reduces armor penetration by 1. So for shooting that would suck because they could like pop smoke. They could armor of contempt, give themselves an order, and then a tank buster or a shock attack gun could do absolutely nothing. So more shame on tactical brigade, I guess. That would suck. Let's see. Orders, you can give more orders. You can see them giving more orders when our tactical brigade is getting like no orders. So I know orc players are kind of like that sucks, but that's really annoying. Orc guard is the army, I guess, that gets their little, supposed to get orders and commands because orcs aren't really like guardsmen, of course, but they're gonna have like 3, maybe 4, I don't know, on some units, and we're like, you have 1, and you might die. So that's kind of funny. But this is good for us because I like to see them. They're going to put more fear into some of our opposition armies that we could be worried about, quote unquote, going into the meta. So I don't mind as this comes out. The more of a mix up there is, the less that there's just Vitrix Guard everywhere being boring. So let's summarize with just some fun chat about some lore, like I said, and unpack some of this. With Wes Hammer he's pretty much having a good time. I'm gonna have a good time, and we're gonna round it out with whatever chat says after I go over this.
1. Anything an orc believes becomes real. This is because each one of them.
This is called Power of WAAAGH, right? Like we're talking about Rahur in the Codex. Oops, too high. Power of WAAAGH to a certain degree. All right, so I'll read that to you. Don't worry.
Generates a psychic field that manipulates reality, meaning all of the dumb stuff they believe becomes real.
Yes and no, right? Some answers can be answered as yes and no, and that's one of those questions that's answered yes and no. Does everything they believe in come true? Yes and no. Let me read this. So, Power of WAAAGH. When orcs gather, a very strange phenomenon manifest. A kind of Gelostab energy builds a supernatural charge, like the tension before a thunderstorm, exciting the orcs, ravenous and violent tendencies, even as it feeds them. Some amongst the Imperium have an hypothesis that this energy lies in the heart, and it's an inexplicable. Can't even read that word, right? Of the faculties of what it means to essential orc nature. For their parts, couldn't care less. To them, this is simply the power of the WAAAGH. So what it's saying here, even though they had a bunch of words that I was jumbling over, is the WAAAGH energy is essential to orcs' nature. Like we have human nature, and human nature is to be a certain way, and a grot nature is to be scared. Human nature is to be the Imperial man and worship them and blah, blah, blah. For orcs, the WAAAGH energy is what's essential to us. Just like the Tyranids have the big hive mind brain, right? These are all things that is immune. You cannot take away from them. So when it says that they're yes and no, that their power allows them to manifest it, it's to themselves, not necessarily outwardly to everybody else, right? Because the WAAAGH energy that they have, yes, it can manifest and affect all of reality, but it's no different than the Tyranid shadow of the warp. The humans access to the warp, its energies itself, and so on, because these are just natural properties that can affect nature itself that they're looking at. So though the orcs have the energy, and the WAAAGH energy makes them bigger, makes them faster, makes them stronger, and manipulates whatever they encounter that they have their hands on themselves. It doesn't necessarily always translate the stuff around them unless there's enough of it that it overcomes the other natural forces, right? Just like the shadow of the warp can overcome.
Number 2, their spaceships have roll-down windows. That way they can let a nice breeze in. Or do
That's hilarious. And this goes back to orcs being pirates, right? They got to shoot their cannons as they fly by.
drive-by shootings at other spaceships. They're too stupid to realize they can't breathe in the void of space. And since they think they can, then they can. Number 3, the orcs believe.
And that's what it means, is because this is within their own shape, with the ship, within their own ship, within themselves in their own area. Yes, this can affect them if there's enough of them in a, in their ship, which assumes that they have a big enough wall that they can go interdimensional. They can move between galaxies and space, and that requires a certain size of wall, which at that point, yes, they do have enough energy to manipulate the field around themselves.
Believe red things go faster. So if they paint stuff red, it will literally go faster. Number 4.
Yeah, their psychic energy will push themselves forward, just like a space marine librarian can utilize warp energy to push himself forward. But like orcs, because it's in their own nature, like we were hearing about in the orc actual codex, because it's a part of their orc nature, every single orc has access to the WAAAGH energy. And you could think about it as when the orc does red, it's a subconscious way of himself activating his latent WAAAGH potential to have access to the WAAAGH energy, so that the WAAAGH energy can propel his vehicle forward, right? So it's not that the red is the power, it's the orc's mindset, and that how red activates that mindset as well.
Orc guns are just metal and wood smashed together in the shape of a gun. But if they believe it works, then it does.
Again, yes and no. Because the Big Mech's understanding of orc technology is real, and he really does build orc technology like weapons and generators, right? There's orc technology that causes attack moons to teleport and move through space in ways that the Imperium can't even do, can't even comprehend or understand. And that really throws Imperiums for the loop and gets them really, really worried and frustrated at the orcs. But that's because the mech technology is real. They're really manifesting this energy and this technology that can really move through natural reality and end up in the face of the Imperium. But it is, again, this is the WAAAGH energy is only enforcing this, empowering this mechanical energy, right? So we see the orcs in one book where they gather a bunch of Eldari psychics, and they use them as actual energy to empower their mechanical energy, their mechanical generators and fields, and they're making force fields, and they're making actual energy to move stuff around, so to propel themselves. So in that case, that's how their WAAAGH energy works too. All of their mechanical stuff is interlatent with their psychic power, right? It's not one or the other, it's both. Their psychic potential is infused with their mechanical potential. That's because that's how orcs are by nature.
Number 5, the orcs were actually
They're psychic beings because of this.
made 60 million years ago by a race of psychic alien frog people to fight off trillions of undead robots. Follow for more death.
Yep. And go ahead and follow him for more hilarious little takes like that. And that's true. And he was right by that. We have the latent energy because we are built to counter Necrons and have our own passive psychic energy that we don't need the warp, so we don't mess with the Eldar in that way, and we don't help the psychic gods in that way, and then we also don't help the Imperium in that way because it's our own psychic energy. But then we're not all mechanical like the Tin Boys, because then they can actually take over our technology, right? If our technology was just straight up technology like Adeptus Mechanicus, the Necrons would have a way to take it over and actually manipulate it. But since orc technology is latent with psychic energy in order to work, it means other mechanically factions that are capable of technological feats can't take over our equipment. And that's intentional by orc design, by their gods. By the guys who made them the big frogman that he just showed off there, the old ones or whatever. And then in turn, that's what keeps orcs powerful, right? It's almost like, so you can't counter us, and that works against the Necrons too. So it's actually an exciting feat of lore and shows how strong we are even without even considering it. that how we hard counter some factions. So yeah, with that being said, I think we went over most of the things that I wanted to cover. Yeah, I love the combined arm style of cunning flavor of tactical brigade, but it's tough out there for the blood axes. Yes, it is, and the stuff we're seeing is showing that it might continue to be that way. But it's still fun to use like the flash kits with their enhancements and the Big Mac, right, with the 4-up invuln. And thanks to the Bad Dog for one War Tactic membership. Let's go. We have the after action report coming out on Monday, so thank you very much for that. You guys should check that out. Let me know how I did. We can see the orcs in real time being used, the War Horde. And of course, we're going to come with more Cult of Speed versions of that. Got my RTT next weekend. Take Cult of Speed to that and have fun with them. So there's always a good time for the orcs around here, regardless of what comes with that data slate. Nothing to be worried about. So with that being said, there's always one thing to keep in mind.